Allah knows. Alta, alita, alit, aliti, alu, alitem, alitem. You see in the last two instances, the comments has been reduced to hatef patha because girls do not like shiva. They take next best thing to shiva, reduced comments. So it's kind of longer than shiva, but shorter than the full vowel. And of course, strong verb is katal next to it, which helps us to find out what is the distinction from the paradigm in the first column to the right and the remaining two. First common verb, plural, is ra'inu for ra'a, alinu for Allah. Geminate verbs. See, all these types are under the weak verbs. So geminate verbs are the ones that have a repeated second consonant in the third, like sabav, meaning to go around. Wherever you see that combination of bet at the end or similar, these will be called geminate verbs. From the word Gemini, which is Latin term for what? Twins. Reduplicated letters. Geminate verbs exhibit two major changes. Frequently, the first geminate consonant assimilates into the second geminate consonant and is represented as a dagesh forte. So if you see sub, or rather sub, it's not going to be a Subway sandwich. It's most likely sabav, reduced to just sub, and that's dagesh forte, hiding the second reduplication of bet. Okay? And the second change, there is the insertion of a connecting vowel, the holon vav, between the verbal root and the sufformative. So before every suffix, there will be holon vav. Let's look at the examples. Sabav is our verb for geminate strong, and there's arar for geminate weak, and geminate weak part 2 is tab, tam. Okay? Sava or ar-ra, sabota. You see that colon vav appearing? Sabot. And that reduplication of the second bait is in that dagesh forte right there. The same for geminate weak first type. Arota, arot. There's some vowel points missing there, but it's not as important as the pattern itself. Savoti, first common singular. Savu. See, somewhere these reduplicated bits actually jump out again. Sabotem, saboten, and sabonu.
Is resh the only consonant that doesn't get a dagesh forte in this type of situation because it's such a long?
Yes, resh doesn't take dagesh forte.
It's such a long consonant.
Well, I don't know if it's the length of it that just prevents it from taking dagesh forte or some other rule, but what happens here is whenever you see that holon vav, that's the sign for you in the second column that this is a weak verb with reduced vowel. Not vowel, but consonant. And you kind of have to memorize it. I mean, that's just plain old memorization drill. Yes?
How is Tom a geminate?
Why is
Doesn't
it
have
weak?
two. Why is it geminate? It doesn't really have two. I mean, I know they call it that, but it doesn't have two of any letter.
Maybe
Why is it
originally
weak?
it did.
Is shows up in the, later on in the paradigm, it shows up with the dagesh forte, like it did have two somehow, but you see what I'm saying?
But if you look up in the paragraph, it has two mems in it. So it's probably just like heart had two.
Where it says
Third sentence, paragraph above.
tamam, to be finished.
Oh.
Why didn't they bring that one down to the table? Who knows?
It's interesting, but that's how it's listed.
Okay.
And it's type week 2, which is probably why it looks a little different than.
He says only the Geminate strong should be memorized, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm not saying this whole paradigm has to be memorized, but you have to see the differences. You have to memorize only what the book says, because that's what's going to be required in homework and could show up somewhere else, in some sacred writings.
Yeah, I think what happens is, yeah, can you go back? Like the verb tom, in the third masculine singular it's tom, but it acts like it's tamam. So they don't really know, okay, is this a real geminate verb or is it something else? And they just, well, it fits mostly with geminate verbs, but it's the third masculine singular is not tamam. So what do you do with it?
Okay. It's got to be regularity within
Uh-huh.
the logical system.
Okay.
Which makes it illogical.
Yeah, if there's a logic to any system, there's always a regularity. Or
It's
exception.
logically.
So it's the same, but different.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So biconsonantal verbs. These are another.
Illogical logic.
Biconsonantal verbs are also called hollow or second yod or second vav. Reason why is because somewhere along the line these verbs had actually 3 consonants, but the second one was either yod or vav, and with time it just disappeared. So you will see them written in the Bible both ways. These designations reflect the fact that biconsonantal verbs in some conjugations exhibit a medial vowel letter, and that's why they kind of bring it back, bring that vav or yod back. For example, the verb shove, right? It actually used to be shuv, but the vav dropped out and it became biconsonantal.
How do you know if that was the case? You just have to memorize every possible word that pasta involved.
No, but you will see in paradigm it appears back, it comes back, and in the text you will also see that. These verbs are composed of 2 consonants. Look at the examples. Come, shum, and ba. Come to rise, to shum to set, to put, and ba to enter. Okay. What should we note on these biconsonantal verbs? First of all, the lexical form is not going to be in Cal perfect third masculine singular, as in most verbs. What it will be actually listed in lexicon under infinitive construct form. Okay? Because in order to show this verb in a full spectrum like this, like shuv or sham, you'll have to actually list it with all 3 letters, and with all 3 letters, it only appears in the infinitive construct form. I know it's all clear and it's settling in your brains, but after you read the chapter for about 2 or 3 times, you will get clear. Example, come is listed under cum. This is infinitive construct, because under Cal perfect third masculine singular, you only will be able to list it as come, and you will never know that this is a third vav, or third yud. That's why they're listing another form of the verb to show you what was the original writing. Okay? And this is a paradigm for Natan, Chaya. Although these are not biconsonant verbs.
Oh.
So the second one is second yud, but as far as the first one is Nathan,
Those aren't in our
well,
book.
Nathan, it
Drops the noon.
Na, yeah, it drops the final noon.
Why?
That's not in the book, by the way.
It's not in the book.
Nope.
It's on
We have
on your charts that are on the CD. Because that's where this is coming from.
I have a question.
Yes.
Would like calm and shum, would those be considered effective text? Because they
You
drop
can see
the-
them in both forms listed in the Bible,
Okay.
or mentioned or written in both forms, which could be considered as defective writing or.
Yeah.
Not in the Bible.
Yeah, well, there is no errors in the Bible, they're just
Effective writing.
defective writing. Yeah. Okay, so and the most important portion of our class session for tonight
Chris
is
is
to
on
look
the screen.
at this last page.
Wait,
Just wanted to make sure you
As it
And write down the homework. We can end the tape now.